What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another solo leveling Arise video. Alright guys, we are a couple days away from global launch, and this is huge obviously, so I'm going to make you guys the ultimate player's guide. Now, I'm pretty sure I am the most, how do we say this without sounding like I'm tooting my own horn here? I probably got the most amount of content for this game. Let's just put it that way, okay? And I've got the experience from both ends. I've completed the game as a free-to-play player, and I've completed the game as a pay-to-win player. So I've got the best of both worlds under my belt. So I'm going to give you guys all the knowledge you need for the ultimate player's guide, whether you're new or a veteran. So we're going to start off with the basic, simple stuff. Who do you go for when you start the game? So the reroll process is very, very simple, guys. You want to log into mobile, you go in as a guest, you do the tutorial one time. Once you complete the tutorial, you'll have the draw. Every time going forward, you can actually skip that whole step, and it's a 2 to 3 minute process. Very, very simple draw system. And what you want to do, guys, the moment you can draw for your first selection banner is you want to draw for the following units and weapons. You want to go 2 and 2, okay? So the units that are going to impact you the most in this game very early on are going to be Sao, this girl over here, the water girl. The reason why is because Cerberus is one of the most difficult bosses in this game, and she is the Cerberus killer, so you definitely want to have her early so you can hunt for better artifacts going forward, especially boots, which when they fix crit damage is going to be one of your best damage dealing artifacts in the game. Not to mention it also drops yourself the hands as well too, which gives you guys a lot of different stats. So Sao is going to be one of your main units going forward, period. The second unit you want to go for is up to you. There's two really big ones here that will matter quite a bit. The first one is Min, who's going to be your main buffer and slash healer, and is going to be overall used for pretty much every piece of content. Or Emma, who's also going to be an AoE breaker. So Sao is also a breaker, but Emma has under her belt the AoE damage that Sao is missing. Sao is very good single target. Emma is very good at clearing mobs. Okay, so those are going to be your three main units you want to go for, guys. The rest of them, don't worry about it for now. You'll get them as the game goes, but those three you definitely want to focus on. Now, with the two weapons, it's up to you. The Scythe is one of my favorite weapons in the game, but you get 2 free copies in the game as you progress through the story, and we'll talk about that very shortly. But you can, if you want to get it to A5 sooner, put that on your list. But what I would suggest is go for the Moon Dagger or the Moon Shadow Dagger, or go for yourself for the Plum Sword. Those two are going to be two of the best weapons to pair with the Scythe, so you definitely want to have one or the other in your arsenal with the Scythe for sure. The second weapon I would highly recommend is the Grimoire, which is going to be your best CC weapon, which is your crowd control weapon, plus the ability to do more damage when you do erosion, which is a debuff that it causes. Another fairly decent weapon is the Huntsman, but we don't really need light weapons because you get fairly good ones at SR levels, and we'll talk more about those as well too. So that's the first thing you want to do. Get one of those characters, one of those weapons, and you're done for rerolling. You're good to go, okay? Now, when the game does drop, you're also going to have most likely the banner rate up for Cha. Now, she's going to be the limited character that everyone's going to want to go for, so she will be your main focus for limited tickets. And all of your essences, guys, everyone who's free to play, pay to win, it doesn't matter. All of your essences are going to go towards getting yourself a limited character. That's all you're going to spend those essences on. Fairly straightforward, nothing else. The reason why is these tickets over here are going to be gathered through the story mode. Now you guys can see here, let me go to the story real quick. Every time you complete a story, whether it's full completion or not, you'll get yourself the 100% clear. And if you complete all the 3-star battle missions, you get yourself more of these draw tickets. So there's going to be plenty of those to come your way. So don't worry about spending essence stones on those basic draws. Everything will come from there. Now, early on, when you start the game, you want to focus on story. Everything will be story related. Just go through the story mode until you possibly can't go any further, and then you're going to unlock yourself hard mode, which is going to help you progress even faster through EXP and gold gathering. We'll talk more about gold very shortly. You want to push this side stories, you want to push these main stories as far as you possibly can, and get as many of the trophies through this as you can as well too, because trophies play a big factor in your weekly reward. The more trophies you have, you guys can see here that I'm like what, rank 21 with 801. The achievement rewards are provided to you on a weekly basis based on how many of these trophies you possess. Trophies come from all ports of content, achievements, instances, etc. So try to get as many trophies as you can. The more you gather, the more weekly essences you will get in your reward mailbox. Okay, so remember that. Now let's talk about the main character, Jinwoo. Now, Jinwoo is going to be important. He can equip 2 weapons. All right, we'll talk more about weapons very shortly. He can also equip 3 skills. In the beginning, you're going to have very limited skills. You're going to have a different ultimate skill. You're going to have this one here called Obliteration. Now, when the game starts, you don't have these jobs unlocked. You have the Assassin job eventually unlocked, which gives you the ultimate in this outfit. Then the Night Lord, which will give you additional stats and unlocks gate clearing for rank C or higher. And then Necromancer, which gives you guys more job opportunities. And the Mutilate option. And then lastly, the Shadow Monarch, which gives you some stats. And also for your first Blessing Stone outside of what you currently have, which is the daily quest completion. Okay, so these will happen through the story and as you level up, so don't worry about it. You do have to clear chapter 9. That's going to be your crux. Now, as a beginner player, one of your main focuses on Jinwoo is going to be completing these challenges. Okay, every challenge here is going to give you guys a full multi to summon on, and is also going to give you guys free, very critical resources in the game. So these challenges and these chapters, I've completed them as a free-to-play player. Very simple to do. You want to definitely focus. Now, when you get to chapter 9, you're going to get your first free SSR scythe. This is going to carry you very far in the game, okay? And when you get to chapter 12, you'll get your second copy, and this will be very important because the second copy actually gives you guys 25% more crit hit rate when you have 70% HP and below, and this buff is important as it stacks for all of your weapons when you have this on your character, okay? So very important. Not only that, but it gives you resources and free character shards, and SR characters play a massive role in this game, as well as SR weapons. So we'll talk all about that very shortly. But now, let's go to the most important part. What matters for stats? Because you're going to unlock this, you're going to have a stat sheet. The main thing that's going to matter for stats, guys, is going to be your strength. Strength plays everything in this game. It scales off of everything in this game for him specifically, and your precision. Precision plays a very critical role. So your precision will be raised through your stat perception over here, or precision. You want to have roughly about 80% to about 95%. That's the sweet spot. Everything else will go in strength. Now, crit hit rate and crit hit damage will come from your accessories, okay, your artifacts essentially. So all of this here will give you guys what you need for crit and crit hit rate, and that's very important to remember. You guys can see here I'm sitting at 49.55 crit hit rate and 169% crit hit damage with 0 stats in agility whatsoever. That is the meta currently. Okay, that may of course change when it goes live, but as of right now, that is the meta. I don't even need any in precision technically because my weapons do that. The way weapons work is the more dupes of weapons you have, whether it's SR or SSR, they give you precision on top of that. You guys can see right here, and depending on what you have, this is how much you get. SRs will give you 2,000, SSRs maxed out will give you 4,000. Okay, now speaking of weapons, as you play the game, you're going to get a lot of SR weapons. SR weapons are critical in your progression in this game. Do not sleep on them. If you look at my free-to-play account, on any of my videos I created, I only created a free-to-play account using only SR characters and SR weapons. No SSRs allowed on that account whatsoever. Even the free scythe, I did not use it, and I beat the entire game only using SR units and SR weapons. SR weapons are absolutely critical. I'm going to use it again, critical to your success. Now, if you want to know which ones to go for, go check out my tier list for weapons. You guys can see exactly where they stand and which ones are going to be vital for you. Do not salvage your weapons. Only rares. And even early on, rares will carry you further than SRs because you will get more dupes. So please, guys, remember that. Now, for Jinwoo, a couple notable ones. Westwind, it is going to be nerfed, but it is the strongest weapon in the game. The Redoer Longbow, very powerful. The Orb of Avarice, very strong. The Kasaka, do not sleep on these. You get very early copies of this for free. Definitely use this. And also this bad boy over here, the Lustrous Dragon Sword, which you also get for free, and it will help you progress through chapter 9, which is a lot of hard stops for players. So please, guys, make sure you do that. Now, speaking of Jinwoo, going back to him, skills. Skills are very hard to get as a free-to-play player, a lot easier to get as a pay-to-win player, but I have done a full-on skill video. Go check it out, which ones are the best skills for breaking, DPS, and also for utility. You guys can get a full understanding. Now, to create skills in this game, you can either unlock them through chests, or you can craft them through fusion. Now, fusion, you're going to need these skill runes right here, and once you do that, you can fuse it, And you guys can see here, you'll get a copy of a skill. If you already have a copy of that skill, you can use 3 of the same dupes, right? I only have 1 to have a chance to get yourself an epic. If you have enough epics, you can move over to legendaries if you have 3 dupes of 3 epics, okay? So that's how skills work. So very important, guys. Look at the skills video and check that out. Now, when you hit level 50, you're gonna unlock blessing stones. Blessing stones are buffs or passives that you will add to your either utility, your DPS, or your survivability. There are various versions of these. There's rares, epics, and legendaries, and as you progress, you can also fuse them, just like you saw a second ago with the skill crafting, by using these blessing stone powders, which you'll get through the dragon fight. Okay, we'll talk more about that later. So definitely check out both videos. I have a full-on videos for all blessing stones, the best ones to use, and skills. But for now, stats, guys, strength and perception at max. Don't need anything else. Everything else will come from artifacts. Speaking of artifacts, okay, so in order to farm artifacts, you will have 2 different dungeons. Encore missions will unlock first. These ones are only hunter related missions. You can only use hunters here. Jinwoo will not be involved in these. This is why it's important. You will first off be doing the Kasaka snake and then forest. And then once you move on from that, these will give you maximum level 35 artifacts. You will be able to do advanced versions of these fights with Cerberus and the giant arachnid, which will give you up to level 55 artifacts. These are what you want to farm, by the way. Key note to remember, only certain pieces drop from certain bosses. So Cerberus, for example, drops hands and feet, while arachnid drops head and body. Okay? Artifacts are always built with different things. Now, in order to get accessories, when you do unlock accessories, you actually have to do the instance dungeons. Now, these are actually Jinwoo fights. You can see here, there's a copy of him. So you can do the Lycans, will drop neck and bracers, or you can do Igris, which will drop earrings and rings. You're gonna need both. So do those early on, okay? Once you unlock those. Now, the way this works, when you do defeat an enemy, one of these bosses with 3 stars, you will also unlock a battle mission buff, which will give you guys increased damage dealt by 50% and also decreased damage taken by 50%. This is where auto comes into play. If you want to play auto, this is the only time to ever play auto. Auto sucks every other play, so do not focus on auto whatsoever. Play the game yourself. All right, couple hints for combat. All right, first off, for Jinwoo, always shadow step. That is a perfect dodge, which will open up the mechanic for this skill specifically called shadow step. And once you do that, you will go behind the enemy and then you will decrease the enemy's defense by 60% for 15 seconds. This is going to be your main debuff throughout the entire game. This will make you defeat enemies so much quicker, help you get 3-star trophies. So keep in mind, this is going to be huge. This is your ultimate that you want to use, Mutilate. Once you get it unlocked, you switch to this, and this is the only one you're going to use going forward. So remember that. Now, in terms of skill, again, I have a video out. Go check that out. You can learn all about those. I won't go into depth with those. Now, also speaking of skills, weapons also have their own skills as well too, and you can actually skill up your weapons as well. So there's basic attack weapons, there's core attack for weapons, and then there is the actual skill itself. Remember to put some actual skill scrolls in these weapons to level them up and make them do more damage. All right, now let's go over to the gatekeeping part of the game. Gold. You guys can see I have a shitload of gold. This will not happen to you unless you're paying a lot of money. This will not happen to you. Gold is scarce. At max, guys, early game, focus on 2 to 3 weapons. That's it. Do not level them up past 60. Okay, it's a lot and it's very draining. Gold is your gatekeeping for this game. It will stop your progression. Hunters. Let's go to hunters because this is important. These are going to be the characters that you pull on. Do not level up every hunter. Do not. For the beginning, like I mentioned to you guys, Sao, Emma, and you guys don't have Choi, or you'll probably won't have Silvermane Beck. These 2 are going to be your main units for sure to focus on early on with Min. Okay? Now, Cha will be out. So take one of these away, put Cha in place. So you can take away Emma if you want, put Chao. But I highly recommend keeping either Emma or Sao. Sao specifically I would keep in, and then Min, and then put Cha in there. Now, SR units, guys, play a pivotal role in your success in this game. Kang, very notable unit to use. Bleed is incredible on bosses with a lot of HP and will help you clear content very easily. Nam is an incredible CC character and also has the ability to freeze and break at the same time. Jinwoo, you get many free copies, is one of the best breakers in the game, so definitely use him early on. And Park Heejin also is very early on, someone you'll get probably through summons, who gives you the ability to raise your ultimate bar quicker, assisting you to defeat people or enemies very quickly. Okay, so those are some notable units you definitely want to use. Also, do not sleep on Hwang Dong-suk, who's also a very good character. All these SSRs, if you want to check out my tier list, are available. I will be updating the tier list. For example, Dong-soo will be going back up to top tier. He's an incredible unit. We've all been sleeping on him, but there are some other units I got to focus on as well. And when Cha comes out, I will do a full-on update on the Hero Hunter tier list, so you can go check that out at any time as well too. But again, do not focus more than 4 to 5 heroes at a time, and don't worry about maxing them out right away. Focus on evening them out. Mainly your DPS is what matters most. Support can go down a couple notches in levels, but your hunter DPS matter more than anything else, because at the end of the day, this game, DPS is king. All right, now let's talk about something else that plays a pretty big role. Army of Shadows. Now this is going to be something that you will unlock once you defeat chapter 9, which is Igris, and you'll get your first shadow, which is going to actually be Igris. Now, a lot of people ask the common question, what do I unlock next? You're going to be farming these shadow traces here, traces of shadow, throughout the game. They'll drop in gates, they'll drop in levels, etc. When you get enough, you want to unlock your second shadow. Your second shadow should most likely be blades, which actually gives your team members a buff of 3% for attack. Now remember, not everybody scales off attack, so it's important to note that you don't want to use blades for every single thing. For example, if you have Sao as your main hunter, he's useless for that buff. And remember, only one buff is eligible. Whoever your leader is of your shadows, that buff is applied. All right, so Blaze should be your second shadow. From there, Tusk will probably be out. You can depending on how heavy you are on HP units versus defense units, you may want to go for tank versus iron, and Tusk is going to give you guys core damage, which right now we don't know how useful that's going to be, outside of maybe 1 or 2 units right now that really depend on that. Okay, so but for sure Igris, Blades, and then decide on HP or defense depending on your main units. And then again, Tusk we'll talk more about when he's out, and I can do more testing on that. All right, so do not level up your shadow. Get all your shadows first, then focus on leveling them up, because traces of shadows are very hard to come upon. And also, every time you do gates, which we'll talk about right now, you're going to have an option to get a couple of these fragments, which lets you level up your army, which will give you guys more capacity and also army power, which is going to matter quite a bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that mode, which is called gates. So just like the manhwa and the actual game itself, I have a full-on guide on gates as well. You guys can check that out anytime. This is going to be a big part of the game you're going to focus on. So gates are broken down into a couple of different ranks. There's D ranks, C ranks, B ranks, A ranks, and S ranks. Okay, and then there's 4 levels of gates. There's the blue standard gates. I'm going to rescan here. Rescan allows you to kind of repop some gates. There's purple break gates, which allow you to get different resources throughout there. See, blue gates will only drop certain resources, so like for example weapon enhancements and armor enhancement and some gear and some of these shadow stuff, while break ones here will give you guys different things. It gives you blueprints, some higher level gear, some cubes, etc., and some more shadow stuff, but again, some hourglass for armory. Okay, if you go through these, if you do enough of these, for example, you're gonna spawn yourself a red gate. Red gates are the most powerful gates in the game, and right here you guys can see they also have some of the strongest enemies in the game, and they will drop you things like higher end legendary gear, more traces, some skill shards, some rune fragments, etc. So these are what you want to aim for. Now you can sweep as a free-to-play player from B ranks and below up to a certain point. Anyone who's pay to win, you get 3 free ones when you buy the monthly package. Outside of that, as a pay to win player, you have to use your essences to complete them. And you guys can see here some of the drops that are happening. Okay, so gates are a major part of this game. They're great for gaining EXP, because for the first 10 gates that you do, you're going to get yourself EXP bonus activations as free to play or pay to win. After that, it's just all gold. So gates are going to play a major part. Again, you guys can go check out the system, how it works, in one of my gate videos that I thoroughly break down. Now, keys are going to be limited. You get first off up to 13 keys. As you build your reputation, more keys will be handed to you, and these do not stack. So if you don't use them, you lose them. They refresh to 15 every single day. There's no restart timer on those, so you have to wait an entire require rest day to get them. Same thing applies to encore gates and instance gates, okay? So in order to get more of those, as a free-to-play player, you have to use the mining system, which is actually attached to gates. So there you guys go. Once you guys clear some of these gates, you'll have a mining system in place where you'll dispatch random units, just dispatch all, and you'll get yourself various rewards through here, including some of these low tier mana crystals, which you'll then use in the shop right here to get yourself various rewards. And some of those rewards, and I highly recommend this for every player, are going to be some of those keys we just talked about right here. Let me go to Mana Crystal Exchange. Right here, see, Encore Mission keys and Instance Dungeon keys. You want to get these every single time they're available, because artifact farming is going to be the biggest part of this game for you. Okay, so make sure you're doing that. Now, the next thing I want to focus on here is going to be the different various battlefields. Now, Hunter Archive here is pretty straightforward. You can do these story modes and get yourself some free essences. Very easy to do. You should definitely get those out of the way. They're adding an extra couple more, I think, when global drops. On top of that, Battlefield of Trials, you should be spending a lot of your time here. This is going to be huge because a couple of reasons. Number one, the rewards are great. They give you guys some summoning tickets. They give you guys various hunter skills, a lot of gold, some elixirs, skill traits, etc. And then keep in mind there are various versions of it. There's the player mode version, which I'm currently at, which you use Jinwoo, and then there's the hunter mode, which is exact replica of itself. I gotta finish this, by the way, but you get to use the hunters instead, so the rewards are doubled. So in regards to, you can get the same reward twice doing the two various versions. You should be spending all your time here early on to complete these, right, with your challenges. So that's going to be an important game mode as well too. And then eventually you're going to have these Battlefield of Time when you unlock these. These are going to be your trials, and these are based, this is pretty much your PvP, we'll call it PvP for now, your leaderboards. So you're going to compete with other players on your server to do certain tasks. So for example, for this one here, there was a season where you fight various bosses. Whoever beat the bosses quickest got themselves the best rewards. I was number 1 right now, by the way, so I got my crown. And then there's the challenge Battlefield of Time, which you'll fight various tiers of bosses, and then at the end of it you get yourself some rankings, as well as every boss you beat you get yourself some rewards along the way. Okay, so there you guys, clear rewards, for example. So very straightforward, cool stuff, always available. Make sure you're focusing on that. All right, so that's how that battlefield works. And then lastly, Power of Destruction. This is the only other thing that we have currently going on in early access, where you fight a big dragon, you rank against other opponents. I've got a ton of videos out on this, and with the rankings you'll get yourself some rewards along the way. So that's how that works. Okay, again, keep in mind, guys, when you are a brand new player, you're going to be put into global, but you'll be going into a server that's considered a sub-server, and you'll only compete with people on those sub-servers. You're never going to compete with me or other players that are whales that started early. So I know a lot of people are afraid of that. So you can check that out anytime when you join. All right, so that is pretty much the key things I wanted to discuss about that. Let me just quickly go through this. Make sure your missions, guys, you are completing these on a daily basis. Your reputation is huge, and reputation will give you guys limited tickets, will give you guys certain resources that you can't get outside of the reputation, and plus also reputation will increase the amount of keys you can hold per day. I think up to reputation 18. At that point, I don't know what they're doing after that. It's just kind of sitting there. Make sure you're doing your weekly ones as well too. And again, every single one of these will give you a ton of EXP reputation, and you want to definitely collect those along the way. All right, now couple things to note as a brand new player. This game is a marathon. Okay, you're not gonna clear this game in a day or a week. Okay, it will take you some time. It took me 30 days as a free-to-play player using SR weapons only and SR units only as a challenge account to complete the entire normal mode. 30 days. All right, I finished at a level 54. Very underpowered, but obviously my skill played a big part, and my luck by pulling West Wind. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're focusing on that. And as a free-to-play player, you also want to do 2 more things that I want to talk about, and that is special commissions. I will do a full video on this eventually, where you want to hunt these enemies down in normal stages or any gates or whatever you want to do, and as you hunt them down you'll get yourself some essences, but more importantly you're going to get yourself some of these extra tickets, including limited tickets here. This is a long haul system. Don't expect to get this done. I'm nowhere near done myself, right? So that's another big one there. And then lastly, the armory. Now, if you guys don't know how this works, this game punishes you for being under the recommended power. So if you're under the recommended power, unless they plan to fix this, you lose all of your crit. You go back down to base crit, which is 5%, and you lose all your precision, and you go down to 75%, which is base precision. it's imperative that you raise your combat power using the armory at your leisure when it's available to you, but these 3 are locked behind essence stones. Do not unlock these as a free-to-play player. Keep it there, all right? Use your passives and your skills to do the most amount of damage, all right? That's what's gonna matter most. Now remember, artifact for hunters, artifacts for Jinwoo, all that stuff is on my channel. I have tier lists for all of these things for you guys, but I want to put this together. If you want a full-on artifact tier list, you can check out my channel. Every character is broken down from the best to the worst artifacts you can possibly give them, including accessories. We do hunters, SR, SSR, and Jinwoo. Everything is available on the channel, but I want to put this together for you guys because I wanted you guys to see what's available to you as a player and how you should start strong in the game. Now, I'm going to just move it a couple seconds over to the pay to win aspect, okay? And just tell you guys what's the best bang for your buck purchases. So first off, these 2 packs, or these 2 little 30-day packages, 110%. If you plan to spend, these are going to be very important for you. So definitely pick this up, all right? Diamonds, listen, it's up to you how you want to spend on that. Spend responsibly, obviously. You will get double diamonds the first purchase. After that, it's up to you if you want to go for those or not. Bonuses are always worth it. Bonuses are absolutely worth it because number one, they will give you guys extra bonuses for making small purchases. So like $1.39, for example, up to all of these. Now, these early on will make a big impact to your account, but later on when your account is a veteran account, these things are farmable. They're super easy to get, so you'll never have to buy it again. Mission ones, absolutely critical. If you plan to spend, pick up every single mission one that you can that pertains to you. They're all very, very good. They're all very good. So all of these are definitely worth picking up if you plan to be pay to win, depending on how much you want to spend. Obviously, again, please spend responsibly, okay? Special packages, these are the ones that are going to give you the most amount of gold. So for example, this gold support mini pack for free to play, you can use your essences if you really struggle with gold. But for pay to win, this gold support pack is huge because this right here, right, will give you guys 24 hours of idle gold, and then when you purchase this one, it becomes the 5 times 900 one and is also massive. This monthly one is also big time too if you plan to purchase. Now for me personally, guys, I've been trying to show you guys something real quick. When you decide to purchase something now and you collect this over time, you will get yourself something called Arise points. Okay, Arise points are right here. Look at that. I have $141. I don't spend anymore. I haven't spent for like, I don't even know how long. So these are now just sitting here for free for me to use when I want to purchase anything. I don't have to spend any money. It just goes right off my Arise points because I've just been collecting them over time. Okay, so as you become a pay-to-win player, if you plan to be a pay-to-win player, purchase on the PC version of the game, you'll get yourself Arise points. After 2 weeks to about 3 weeks, you'll start seeing them, and then you can use those points to make purchases going forward without having to spend real-life money at all at that point. All right, guys, I think I've covered most of it. If there's anything else you guys want me to cover, let me know, but I think this is the ultimate player's guide in terms of how you should start off, what you should do, etc. I will do a combat guide for you guys in the future to show you guys how to optimize your combat and how to use it properly and how to play the game more efficiently. But for now, we'll stop here. All right, guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.